Hi, I'm Hayley, Chief Doodler at Thoughts Drawn Out. I'm all about getting creativity working so I can help you to make your mark. Hey friends, today I want to bring you behind the scenes of the creative process. And when I say behind the scenes, I kind of mean into my brain. I want to talk you through what's my thought process from inspiration to finished art. Because we sometimes make the assumption that it's a direct line from A to B, when in reality, there's a lot of twists and turns and curves and considerations and thoughts that go into it. And I'm hoping that by sharing those twists and turns with you today, I can take some of the mystery out of that process and show you that it is possible to make works of art that mean something to you, that symbolize an emotion, something deeper than just something that surface level looks nice. And really, it's just the process of how you tease out the meaning from within it and how you draw the line from the inspiration to the finished piece by layering in that thought process and that meaning. So that's really what I'd like to walk you through today. So as you can see, I have a photo here as a starting point, my inspiration for today. This is a photo I took, actually I think it was last winter, of an early morning on the farm. There's some fog, beautiful light. And so I'm going to start there. I'm going to put it to the side and I'm going to walk you through what am I thinking as I look at this photo and how do I draw some inspiration from it. So I might just be doing this inside my brain. I may be doodling it out on paper, but I'm going to doodle it for you today so that you can kind of follow along the thought process. But this could all just be happening in your mind as you step into and really immerse yourself in the thing that's inspiring you. So I'm going to start with some notes. I'm going to put the photo in the middle symbolically so you know that that's my starting point. Now I'm going to backtrack from that scribbly, squirrely spaghetti of thoughts there and show you how I kind of get to the inspiration thread and how I weave it through. So I've got a photo and I ask myself, what's the first thing that comes to mind? When I look at this, what is the first thing that I see? And the first thing I feel when I look at this photo is that it's like a sharp exhale. I can feel what the cold air leaving my lungs on this cold morning would feel like. The next thing I notice is the color contrasts, how deep and dark and ominous and looming those trees look against those pastels. Then I'm noticing that sunrise that's peeking through, it almost looks like this warm eye opening. It's just like I've caught the sky waking up and it's just opening one eye, kind of peeking through the fog at me. And then as I continue to look around, I'm really kind of noticing the contrast between the gentle lines of the fog and the grass and those harsh, sharp lines of the trees and the structure. And that kind of leads me to that next thought of the extremes that I'm seeing. There's extremes of light and dark. They're kind of one end of the spectrum of the other. So now if I use that as my jumping off point now, that connects me back down to that whole idea of gentle and sharp, light and dark. And if I pull up from that starting point of it feeling like a sharp exhale, that's like a shock. And then if I bring to the other end of the spectrum that feeling, then I'm getting the extremes. So I'm pulling all of these ideas out and I'm coming back through and I'm circling the things that I think I can really draw inspiration from, that I can really take somewhere with this picture. So that was just a bit of a mind map, following threads of thought that went in a few different directions and then looking how they weave back through and connect to each other to kind of find my starting place, find my thread. And when I kind of see a bit of a theme emerging through there, then I go, great, I've got a place to start here. I can delve in a little bit deeper. So this is where we flip to the next page of the digital sketchbook. I've got my photo there, and now I'm digging in to the colors. I'm pulling out what I'm seeing, and I'm bringing little color palettes to life directly from the image. I'm saying, if nature is presenting me with this color palette, what is it? Let's actually pull it apart and see what the colors are that make up this one quiet morning, which is the phrase that's just now come to mind as I've gotten to this part of the process. So I go through, pull out the colors, and literally find what they are, so I can build an actual palette as my kind of next step in this creative process. And I stop and I look at those, and I look at all the contrasts that sit in there, and that feels like a nice connection back to that mind map I just did, where I found those contrasts, and now I'm seeing it in front of me. So I'm preparing now to move from inspiration to actually creating something. So I'm taking those colors that I've just drawn, literally plucked from the photo, and I'm pulling them into a color wheel. So this is the palette that I will physically work with as I work through the picture. So just another piece in the puzzle as I kind of weave my way through from inspiration to finished piece. So I have my inspiration page, I have my color palette, I've got some concepts. Now I'm literally starting to sketch out line and shape. I'm getting the feel for how these lines are emerging on the page. I'm bringing back in some of those earlier thoughts as I find these lines, as I find the shapes, as the picture starts to take a bit of form in my mind. So I come back to that curve of the horizon, that kind of, it has that eye shape to it, as well as that sense of that's where the dawn is waking up. And I really like that idea. So I'm going to use that as kind of a core place to start in my picture. I'm also coming back to that contrast theme and pulling out like those sharp shapes between the trees and the sky, and how I get that lovely contrast of both the line style as well as the color. So I'm really liking that, so I'm pulling that in. So now with all of this inspiration in place, I begin the process. I like to put a color background in the back of a picture when I start to make it, especially an abstract piece like this, knowing that I may change it later, but I always like to start with a color and then play around with it. So as you can see, the first thing I did there was put that curvy line in, inspired by the outline of those trees. And now I'm wrapping the colors and shapes of that horizon waking up, the dawn's eye, coming back in with those curvy lines, and then playing around with the colors in terms of how I stack them against each other, trying to keep that essence of contrast alive here between the deep dark curves and the beautiful soft calm cool pastels. And I'm just kind of layering in as I go, just slowly building in the color. So I'm coming back through along that curve and then putting the contrast color nice and close to it so you can see it right against each other. I'm looking for places to then bring in pops of those warm horizon colors so that that sense of waking up sits throughout the page. And I'm just doing kind of gentle pass after gentle pass, adding layer by layer, getting richer and deeper in some of the colors, more defined in some of the shapes, more blended in other places, because I'm really looking for that mix of both here. I want sharp lines and curves, and I want blended space and blended colors. So I'm just trying to get that balance just right. Those flickers of light are when I'm playing around with the background color to see what happens when I take that blue away and put different darker shades and lighter shades. And there in the end, I settled on a dark grey. And so here it is, my finished picture. As you can see, as I've walked you through today, I didn't just take a look at a photo and go, sweet, that's awesome. I'm going to sit down and draw a digital abstract piece of art off that. There was a process. I let my brain go on a bit of a journey inspired by that photo, and I explored some concepts in line and shape and tone and metaphor, and I let it kind of draw all of that out of the inspiration, and I pulled it out and I played around in it, and I used it as a starting off point to then put pen to paper, or in this case stylus to tablet, and create a piece of art. And I really hope that by kind of taking you through this, you can see that it's not just this kind of divine inspiration that strikes out of nowhere. It's a process that you and anyone can walk themselves through. You start with the thing, you think about what stands out for you, what you like about it, what does it remind you of, what does it feel like. You just notice things about it, and then you take those things and you use them as your starting point to then put pen to paper and start making marks to create a new piece. And what's great about an abstract piece like this is you take the pressure off yourself that you have to do things that look like things. You're just trying to express a feeling or a thought or a way of being, a moment. And that can take whatever form you like. So it's a great place to start and play around. Now, I hope you felt inspired by this video today and that it's made you want to go and create some art of your own. Please do so. Just playing around in the creative process is just so good for the brain. Even if you don't love the first thing you made, just spending time in the making process, it's really good for us. So have a crack. And if you did like this video, please give it a like. Share it with someone else who you think might also like it. And if you're not yet subscribed here on our channel, please do so. I make videos when I can, when the inspiration strikes to do so. But I would love you to come along on the journey and enjoy my videos with me. So hit subscribe and the bell and you'll be notified whenever I put something weird and wonderful out into the world to share with you. Thanks everyone. I'll talk to you soon.